Welcome to Webinar Wednesdays. My name is Andrew Bruce. Today's topics are multiple units of measure and advanced GL determination. So where do we start? Let's start with multiple units of measure, and let's start with an example. We work for the paper company, and our primary supplier delivers 12-pack cartons, and sometimes we're forced to use a secondary supplier who delivers 20-pack crates. We sell packs of paper, most frequently in 6-packs. Therefore, our 6-packs we've set as the default, and we also sell single packs. And upon infrequent request, we sell 12-pack cartons. So, this slide is an illustration of the previous two slides. The main point of emphasis in this slide is that the inventory unit of measure is a pack. This is important. It's going to come up again. Now, before we jump into our demo, let's ask and answer two quick questions. Question 1. What is our units of measure defaults, and can they be changed? So let's answer our first question. The purchasing unit of measure defaults are the carton, and the sales unit of measure are, as we've already mentioned, are the 6-pack. The inventory default is the pack. It cannot be changed once the inventory transactions have taken place. The purchasing and sales units of measure, on the other hand, they can be changed. So here's our second question. What are the benefits of the multiple units of measure compared to the manual units of measure? So the old manual system is good when your company buys the same unit, keeps it in inventory, and sells it the same unit 99% of the time. However, it doesn't work well if it's more complicated, like the paper company's process flow, which has multiple combinations. So the multiple combinations that we have here for the paper company are, you might expect them to be 6, 2 times 3. But in fact, a crate cannot be converted into a carton. So in fact, we have 5 combinations. 2 times 3 minus 1 makes 5. So let's go into our demonstration. Let's set up a unit of measure group for the item group paper. So we'll click on Administration Setup. Then we'll click on Inventory, and then we'll click on Units of Measure Group. Now you can see that I've set up Units of Measure Group paper ahead of time for this demonstration. We can use the same unit of measure group for different types of paper. In our case, we'll use it for white paper, and we'll also use it for pink paper. So next, let's set up our units of measure. So we'll click on Administration Setup, Inventory, Units of Measure. Again, you can see that I've set up our units of measure before the demo started. This list is also known as the Global List of Measurements table, and we're going to talk about this more in a moment. So next, let's confirm that we've got the correct units from master data. So we're going to click on Inventory, Item Master Data, and then we'll click on the description. And we're going to go in Find Mode. We're going to make sure that we're in Find Mode by clicking on the binoculars, which we don't have to worry about because it's already been selected. And what are we going to type? We're going to type white paper. You can see that the item group is office supplies and the UOM group is paper. So let's interrogate that. Right? We've got office supplies here, okay, and we've got paper here. When you create an item master record, you assign the unit of measure group. The group contains the relevant unit of measure which we need for our white paper item. In our paper company example, for the item white paper, we assign the group, the unit of measure group, paper, because paper has all the measures that we need. So let's click on the unit of measure group arrow to take us to the group definition paper. We can now enter the ratios for the unit of measure group paper. This is very important. I need everyone to lock this in their brain and remember it. Okay? I've pre-added these for everyone to save a little bit of time during our demo. This is the workhorse for unit of measure, multiple units of measure. It's very, very important, and please keep this in the back of your mind. In fact, please keep it in the forefront of your mind. So now let's go back to the item master data form. What else is important about white paper? On the purchasing data tab, you can see the purchasing UOM code is carton, right here. Clicking on the ellipses, the ... brings up a form enabling us to change the default from cartons to crates. On the sales data tab, the functionality is similar. Note that we sell white paper for $1 per pack. Clicking on the inventory data tab, see that the UOM code is a pack. Do not confuse it with the inventory counting UOM code. The inventory UOM code is very important. It cannot be changed once the inventory transactions have occurred. It is the inventory default we chose earlier, shown in the inventory process flow diagram at the start of the presentation. So now, let's go buy some white and pink paper. We will open an AP purchase order. White paper uses multiple units of measure, while pink paper uses the old manual method for units of measure. Let's go do it. We have to select our vendor. And now we will add white paper. And we'll also add pink paper. We will compare our multiple units of measure white paper against our manual units of measure pink paper. For white paper, we can change the unit of measure code field from carton to crate. See this? This is pretty important. I'm showing it to you first, and that's why it's important. See what we can do here? Watch what happens. Notice how the three fields, unit price, okay, unit price, right here, total local currency, and items per unit change exactly as expected when I change this. So items per unit. This will change from 12. This will change from $12, and this will change from $12 to 20, because of course it's $1 per unit, as soon as I hit this choose button. This is important. It's very important. Now for pink paper, notice that the UOM name is carton with capital letters. Okay, it's different. I've differentiated it intentionally so that we can tell them apart. Also notice that the UOM code is manual. Okay, see this? We cannot change the UOM code from manual to anything else. We can click on it as much as we'd like, and nothing happens. Here is where things go wrong. Buyers mess things up. They correctly change the unit price and the total currency, the local total currency price. Okay, so they can go in here. They can change this. Okay, excuse me, they can change this. Right? Notice that we didn't have to change this up here, did we? They can change this. It's automatically done for them. They can change this. Right? But often they don't actually change the items per unit. This is the critical error, and this is why multiple units of error within Business One is recommended. Sometimes this field is hidden, and this is how and why things get messed up. So this brings us to the end of our demo for multiple units of measure. Multiple units of measure is the new restrictive but better way, which forces you to enter ratios which cannot be overridden on purchase or sales documents. Multiple units of measure forces ratios to be used. This is the strength of multiple units of measure over the old manual system and why it works well for the paper company. In our example, we had 12-to-1 ratio and we had a 20-to-1 ratio, and neither could be overridden, nor could the UOM name field be mistakenly typed. Additionally, the items per unit field could not be adjusted because of the strictly enforced 12-to-1 or 20-to-1 ratio. If people were using the old manual system, they could change the wording on the document and also get the cost or money correct, but not always the unit conversion. What did it cause? It resulted in getting the inventory messed up. The cost was often correct because it was their job to make the money work, but often inventory got messed up. So now let's completely change topics. Let's discuss general ledger determination, beginning with the traditional method, and then we'll discuss the new advanced GL determination method. We'll go off the deep end with the advanced GL determination, but by the end of it you'll see that the deep end isn't so deep after all. Let's start with a quick review of the traditional GL account determination. It's easy. The traditional ways for determining GL accounts for an item are warehouse, item group, and item level. The accounts that get used for an item traditionally are driven from the settings on the warehouse, the settings on the item group, and less frequently, the item level. Let's quickly have a look at Business One and see how traditional GL account determination works. We will use a warehouse example. Of course, I need to close a few things here first. Let's start by clicking on Inventory, Master Data. We'll go into Find Mode, and we're going to look for our old friend, white paper. Now, if we look on the Inventory Data tab, we are going to interrogate Set GL Accounts By. Okay, let's have a look. It has three values: warehouse, item group, and item level. You can see that for white paper, the GL account is determined by warehouse. So let's go to the warehouse by clicking the yellow arrow down here. Within the warehouse, we'll click the Accounting tab. When this item is transacted through the general warehouse, these are the accounting codes. You can see them, and there's a lot of them. It will always post against expense account 6390. You can see 6390 right here, right? Revenue account 4110, see 4110, and inventory account 1340. So here's the main point. Pardon me. The same item in the same warehouse will always be transacted in the same way, no matter what. There's little flexibility in the traditional method. If the item from the warehouse were sold in 2 different countries, you're stuck posting it to the same revenue account, whether you like it or not. Perhaps you'd like to differentiate your US sales from your Canadian sales. With the traditional method, you cannot do this without customization. Similarly, if the GL account is determined by item group, you're stuck posting transactions to those which are set up. You cannot make alternate rules like posting revenue from different countries to different accounts. Lastly, if the item is determined by at the item level, again, you're stuck. There's no ability to improve the granularity of the GL posting. To improve granularity, you must enable advanced GL account determination. So let's go talk about advanced GL account determination. Advanced GL account determination can be used to define rules for assigning GL accounts in transactions. What does it do? It provides a centralized matrix to determine rules for assigning GL accounts according to a list of criteria. Therefore, it's more flexible and consistent with accounting. The determination criteria window provides a predefined list of criteria. Some or all of the criteria can be activated. If one of the criteria isn't needed, it can be inactivated via a checkbox. The up and down arrow will prioritize. The most important are at the top. During our up-and-coming demo, you'll see checkboxes which can inactivate the criteria, and you'll also see the up and down arrow for prioritization. Watch for them. In the up-and-coming example, you'll see that not all of the criteria are listed. Tax code isn't used, for example, nor is federal tax ID. Business partner is at the top of the list in our example. During the example, have a look and you'll see it at the top. It's shown as BP code. Watch for it. Okay, our first step is to activate the Advanced General Ledger Account Determination. So let's click System Initialization, Company Details, Basic Initialization tab, and we have to go down to the bottom here. And this little guy, he's only a very small little checkbox, but he's very, very important. Without him turned on, of course, we'll have the traditional method enabled. If we check this box, the advanced method is turned on. So now let's do our second step. To access the GL determination window, we need to go to Administration Setup, Financials, GL Account Determination, and GL account determination again. And this matrix is very important. This GL account determination window or matrix allows you to define your sales, your purchasing, your inventory, and your general accounts. Your various transactions will be posted to in one centralization. This is the matrix that was previously mentioned. It's the heart of advanced GL determination and what makes it so powerful and so easy. It also includes a column on the right, this column right here, to show advanced rules which apply to specific accounts. So let's see an example of how to set this feature up and how the applied rules will affect consecutive general ledger postings. We'll look at inventory transactions first. In our matrix, we have all the default accounts already defined for us. See all these accounts? These are defined for us. Let's take a look at the revenue account, for example. The default account is 4110. See this guy right here? 4110. But as you can see, there are two rules which have been defined for revenue. So let's click on the arrow and drill down and have a look. The first rule is for business partner My Sister Co. See this right here? My Sister Co. With the business partner group customers right here. Revenue from My Sister Co. will be posted to the intercompany sales account 4120-2. So let's go see that. 4120-2. 4120-2, right here. 41. Excuse me, I think I said it wrong. 4110-2. So if we recall our previous demo from a moment ago, we'll notice that this specific rule, has nothing to do with the three rules from traditional, which are warehouse, item group, or the item. All items sold to My Sister Co. from any warehouse goes to this revenue account. Okay? This is important. The second rule here, is for the ship to country Spain. And in this case, the revenue will be posted to the foreign revenue account. Okay, let's go see the foreign revenue account. Right here. 4120-01 instead of the default account. Again, okay, very important, it has nothing to do with warehouse, item group, or item from the traditional method. Okay, now I could create a revenue account called stationery. Then I could have a rule for the stationery item group go to it, but with a slightly lower rule priority. The scenario here would be that 98% of the time stationery goes to the regular, usual stationery account. But if it's sold to My Sister Co., the My Sister Co. wins, and the revenue transaction would be recorded to intercompany sales. If it's sold to Spanish Co., the Spanish Co. wins. By this, I mean that 1% of the time stationery goes to Sister Co., and 1% of the time stationery goes to Spanish Co. When it comes to priorities, the priority is defined in the determination criteria window. So let's have a look at that, and we'll see how we set up these priorities that are listed right here. Click on Administration, Setup, Financials, GL account determination, and then determination criteria, this little guy right here. And this list matches this list that goes across here. The vertical list matches the horizontal list is a better way to say that. Upon opening the determination criteria window, you'll see that the business partners are at the top, shown by BP code, followed by ship to country. We can adjust the priorities using the up and down arrow. If you recall, I mentioned that earlier. The first true rule wins. It's read from top to bottom. Let's see it work by interrogating the revenue accounts. To interrogate revenue, we must sell something and collect the money. Accordingly, let's open the sales AR invoice for Spanish Co. and for my sister Co. So if we select invoice 269, we'll note that Spanish Co. is the customer. And we can click on the the journal entry preview button. Okay, and before we do that, actually, let's have a little look here. Okay, we've got our white paper item. Okay, we're selling it for $6. That means we have $6 worth of revenue. Okay. It doesn't matter that our unit of measure is 6-pack. That's from our previous example. We're focusing on revenue at this point. Okay? And we want to see where the revenue is going to go. So let's see where the revenue is going to go based on our journal entry preview. And because we've set up the rules based in advanced GL determination, right, it's very important to know that my Spanish Co. was set up to go to 4120, sales revenue foreign, and the $6 is posted to this account. Okay, we did that, and it was very easy to do so using the advanced method. We couldn't have done that with the traditional method. So now let's go to my sister Co. and we've got a different amount. Okay, and we're selling white paper again, and we'll preview the journal entry for that, and we'll see that in fact my sister company, which was set up for intercompany sales, is in fact going to a different account set up for intercompany sales, and the revenue for it is going to the intercompany sales account. And that brings us to the end of the advanced GL determination demo. So now we can wrap up and conclude. So let's mention some key points here. Okay? You can see the key points related to multiple units of measure. I'm not going to read what's on the screen, but I will summarize and conclude with an example. Okay? A buyer would change their units of measure from pack to 6-pack and also increase the cost so that it was correct for a 6-pack. The problem was that they didn't account for inventory units and things got messed up. Regarding advanced GL determination, we've shown you a lot today. We reviewed the old traditional method, and then we threw you off the deep end with the advanced method. You may not remember everything with the advanced method, and that's okay, but the main takeaway point is that the process isn't complicated and that it makes GL determination granularity possible. It is now easy to sell an item both to Canada and the US and post it to 2 different revenue accounts without customization. Today we focused our example on sales, but advanced GL determination applies to all items related transactions, including purchasing, inventory, sales, and production. It also applies to items that are not marked as inventory items in the item master. And with that, I conclude and open